look at multiplying polynomials, okay? The first level of multiplying is really just the distributive property, which we have seen before, okay? So when we see parentheses like this, it means multiplication. So I'm going to distribute my -6 to both terms. So I'm going to take -6 and multiply it by x squared. Since there's no coefficient, there's really a 1 there, so we can say -6x squared. I'm going to do the same multiplication. I'm going to take that -6 and multiply it by -2x. -2 times -6 is going to be a +12. You have to be careful there with the signs. And then since the 2 has an x, that x is going to come with it. Multiplication is not like adding and subtracting where they have to be like terms. You can really multiply anything together, but you can only multiply numbers together and then the same letters together. So this would be your answer, okay, for this problem. I can't do anything else because I can't add these. They're not like terms. I can just multiply and then leave my answer like this. Let's look at another example here. We're going to multiply again. Now this time I have a -7x. It's going to be the same idea, okay? But now this time I have an x here. So I'm going to write it like this, -7x times -8x squared, just so we can see what math I'm doing here. I'm not going to do this one in my head like I did the other one. So I'm going to multiply the numbers. -7 times -8 is 56. It's a positive number when you multiply two negatives together. And then I have x times x squared. Remember, there's a little 1 here. So we really have x to the 1 plus 2. Remember, back to our laws of exponents, when you multiply, you add the exponents. So this one's going to be 56x to the 3rd power. All right. We're going to do the same thing with the -2. I'm going to take 7x and multiply it by -2. -7x times -2. Okay, in this case, we don't have an x with this 2, so I'm just going to multiply -7 times -2. Again, two negatives gives me a +14. And there's no x here, so this x just kind of comes along with it. I don't need to do this step because there wasn't another x here. So my answer is going to be 56x to the 3rd power plus 14x. Okay, again, these are not like terms, so I cannot combine them. That is my final answer. All right, so in this one, this is multiplying. Again, we see parentheses, but in this case, we're actually going to do what's called double distributing. So I'm going to write that here. So I'm going to have to distribute 2 times. All right, so I'm going to distribute this 2x. This 2x, I'm going to pretend like is the only thing, and I'm going to distribute it to the 3x and to the -4. So I'm going to do 2x times 3x and 2x times -4. 2 times 3 is 6. I have x to the 1, x to the 1. I'm going to add those together, so I have x squared. 1 plus 1 is 2. Then here I do 2 times -4, which is -8, and there's an x with the 2. Now I'm going to do the same thing, but with the -5, and pretend like that's my only thing here. -5 is going to get multiplied by the 3x and the -4. -5 times 3x and -5 times 4. Notice in both section of distributing, I'm distributing it to a 3x and then a -4. 3x and a -4. All right, so -5 times 3 will give me -15, and there's an x on the 3 that just comes along. And -5 times 4 is just -20. Okay, the last step here will be to look for like terms. You have your 4 answers here from our first distributing of the 2x, 2 more here from the second distributing of the -5, and now I'm going to combine like terms. I have a -8x and a -15x. -8 minus 15, if you need a calculator, -8 minus 15 gives me -23. So I have -23x. All right, so when I write my answer, I'm going to put the 6x squared minus 23x minus 20. That is your answer when you multiply. Okay, this is double distributing. I have to distribute the 2x to the 3x and the negative 4. And I do the same thing, negative 5 to the 3x and the negative 4. Let's look at one more like that. Again, I'm going to double distribute since I have two terms here. So I'm going to take x and multiply it by 3x and 7. So x times 3x and x times 7. There's an invisible 1 here if that helps you. 1 times 3 is 3. X, again, invisible 1's here. I'm going to add them. 1x times 7, 1 times 7 is 7, and there's an x that's coming along for the ride. So that's my first part of the double distribute. Now I have to do the second part. The second part, which makes it double, is distribute that negative 3 to both the 3x and the 7. So negative 3 times 3x and negative 3 times 7. Negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. X comes along. And negative 3 times 7 is negative 21. Combine like terms. I'm going to take 7x minus 9x. That gives me 2x. And then my final answer is going to be 3x squared plus 2x. You have to have some symbol in there. If it's positive, you put a plus. If it's negative, I'd put a minus. Like this one, I put negative 21. And that is your answer. So in this lesson, we went over how to multiply. We went from just distributing a number to that number with a variable, to then double distributing, having to do that distributive property twice since you have a binomial. You have two terms here in this one. Okay? Use this to help you with your delta math.